Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into atomic habits. Now, atomic habits isn't about turning you into a perfectly optimized machine. Honestly, atomic habits isn't some preachy moral sermon either. Really, atomic habits is a quiet attack on a belief you probably trust way too much. This book by James Clear dismantles the deeply held idea that all we need is just more discipline.
Look, your brain is not lazy. It is thrifty. I really want to validate your biological reality right up front here. We all know what we're supposed to do, right? So when we fail, we immediately blame that part of ourselves that didn't follow through. But listen, your brain is simply following the path of least drag. It's just saving fuel. It reaches for the cue it already knows. James Clear takes that fundamental biology and turns it into a practice in this book. Your brain repeating what cost less yesterday, that's not a weakness. That is literally just biology doing its job.
Section 1. The discipline myth. We've got to dismantle this illusion entirely. There's this deeply ingrained belief out there that a missed habit is some kind of private moral failure.
It's wild, but highly capable people actually weaponize consistency against themselves. Like the quote says, you keep building the perfect routine, then use one missed night as proof you were never serious. You treat one skipped repetition, just one missed run, or one bad meal as a final verdict on your entire identity. You use it to say, see, I was never actually serious about this. You don't just lose the habit, you lose the case you were trying to make for yourself. I wish this weren't true, but look at where it leads.
Moving into Section 2, the vote counting machine. There's a hidden cost to the system you're currently using, and it all comes down to the core mechanism taught in this book.
So consider the vote counting machine, a mechanism that turns action into identity, and identity back into action. Yes, habits are biological defaults, but every single action you take acts as a ballot cast. It's actively proving to your brain who you expect yourself to be. The habit isn't just a physical motion, it's an internal trial. It turns your action into your identity, and then that identity turns right around and fuels your next action.
You see, the problem isn't that your internal system is broken or empty. The problem is that your current environment and your everyday cues are already successfully casting votes for your old identity. Like the slide says, the habit is not the goal. The habit is the ballot. That phone sitting on your nightstand, it's voting for a person who scrolls in the dark. That snack on the counter, it's voting for someone who grazes. None of these cues hate you. They're just casting early votes before you even consciously wake up.
Picture two doors in a hallway. The strict door demands perfect routines, 5 a.m. wake-ups, 0 missed days. The waiting door, well, that's where you wait for a perfectly clean, stress-free season in your life before you even start. Both of these feel completely same, right? One respects ambition, the other respects reality. But if we trace out where both of these paths inevitably end up, the trap becomes obvious. The strict door says you must be tightly controlled at all times. The waiting door says you're too fragile for bad weather. Ultimately, both doors leave your exact same old identity in charge.
Section 3. Identity under pressure. Now we're going to see how our identity boundaries are actually shaped by what we allow into our space when the pressure is on.
Think about a cell membrane versus a prepared kitchen. A cell membrane doesn't survive by yelling at itself. It survives by controlling what it lets in. A prepared kitchen doesn't rely on some noble feeling of hunger. It operates based on what is already right there in reach. The pan is out, the knife is ready. Real change isn't about screening at yourself to just be better. It's about shaping your boundaries and preparing the gravity of your space before the desire even shows up.
And that brings us to the famous 4 laws of behavior change from this book. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Please, don't just look at these as basic, cute slogans. We view these as friction edits. They literally change what your nervous system sees as the next sane move. Make it obvious so the cue stops hiding from you. Make it attractive so your brain actually sees the reward. Make it easy so your body starts moving without needing a 20-minute motivational speech. And make it satisfying so the act closes with a signal that's actually worth keeping.
Section 4. The misuse of systems. There is definitely a shadow side to this book, where highly driven readers get it totally wrong.
Consider the massive difference between a habit floor and a habit ceiling. Your habit floor protects your return and survival. It is built specifically for storms and brutal days. Your habit ceiling, on the other hand, trains your range and capacity. It's built for clear air and strong days. You have to stop confusing the two. When you mix them together and call that mix integrity, you just end up feeling deep shame on a hard day, all because you demanded a ceiling performance during a total storm.
So we use what we call strategic delay tools. Here's the first one, a constraint check. You absolutely must name your hard limits first. Time, money, energy, space, care duties. Define these boundaries before you start expanding any new habit design. Look, if your true limit today is 10 minutes of energy, build a 10-minute identity vote. Do not invent a 90-minute life just to shame a 10-minute day. Ground yourself in reality.
Here's another strategic delay tool, kill criteria. If a cue fails 3 times, move the cue. If a rep fails 3 times, cut the rep entirely. You've got to set the rules before the pressure arrives. Do not ask pain to write your policy while it's actively screaming at you. Set the boundary when you're calm.
We also have real-time tools like Q-Sense and Intuition. But listen to me, I need to be explicitly clear here. This tool requires deep domain expertise. It requires years of deliberate practice in the exact same environment. This is expert only. Please, do not attempt to rely purely on intuition if you are just starting to rebuild an identity vote. Stick to the friction edits.
I want to ask you a really direct question. What habit are you using to accuse yourself? Just let that land for a moment. You aren't defending the habit, are you? You're defending a fantasy of clean self-control.
Section 5. The next clean vote. It is time to strip away the theater of massive transformation and reorient you to your immediate reality.
The missed night was never the verdict. It was weather. The verdict is simply the next vote you make after the weather passes. You don't need some grand life design before tonight. The part of you on trial isn't your worth, it's just the setup, the friction. Small votes change identity. This book is a practice, you guys, not a product.
One clean rep. Tonight.